How are you all doing? Thank you for joining us on your number one show, The Nigeria We Want. Joining me is Mr. Wale Olaiton. Welcome to the show, Mr. Wale Olaiton.
Thank you, Dr. Vicky Falaji. It's good to be back on our number one show, The Nigeria We Want.
Yes. I believe Mr. Shodimu will join us shortly. So, how's your week been?
Thank God it's Friday. It was a busy week. A lot of things to do at work, so commitments here and there.
Yeah.
No one gets free lunch anywhere. It's good. You have to you
Oh,
have to put in all the hard work for the dollars. So yeah,
mm,
I had a productive week, busy just doing some projects at work, some high level stakeholders meeting.
yeah,
Yeah, so I had a productive week.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. I just got back from Adelaide. I got back just a couple of hours ago. I got back in. So it's yeah, crazy busy week. But like you, thank God it's Friday. All right. So what I'll do? Can you hear me?
Yes, so I think you're showing on your laptop and your phone.
All right. All right. We're back in business.
That's good.
I fixed it. All right.
So I think Elvis will join us. He had contact with me just about 5 minutes ago. It was mixing up the time. So
Oh, okay.
I think he will join us very soon. And Egbon earlier indicated his willingness to join us on the
To
show.
join. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So let's get into it. What is trending for you? I think I'll get started.
okay,
Um, the aspect or what came up in the last few hours, no, about 2 days now, is about this pastor, OPM pastor Chibuzo, who was accused of impregnating some young girls in his church.
okay.
Have you heard of that?
I came across it, but I didn't pay too much attention. But I remember I came across it online a few days ago.
Yeah, which is quite sad. This man was known to be generous, and you know, there were two boys that they were called Happy Boys who got sacked because they were dancing at work.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not sure if you remember that
I
case.
remember. I remember that case. They were
When
they were
when
they were working in one of these
a
fast
fast
food
food
outlets. Yeah,
restaurant,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And instead of them to be doing their work, they were dancing. And when he even came up and helped those boys, I was thinking, is this rewarding bad behavior? Those boys were there to work. They weren't doing their work, they were dancing and they were doing videos. Now, the boss sacked them, the owner sacked them because they weren't focusing on the job they were getting paid to do. And you came up and you sent them to Cyprus to go and study. Now, the it got to its point that he couldn't continue to pay the school fees, and he asked the boys to come back to Nigeria that he can't. It's too much money for. So some people believe that whatever is going on right now is those boys that did it. But how can three young girls accuse you of, molesting them? And there was even a DNA test that was done, and the DNA that proved that was the is the father to the kids. So it's just it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. I'm not sure about you, but I just, yeah, that's something that is trending at the moment.
Yeah, look, I saw the news, just the headlines, but I didn't, pay much attention. But obviously, is a developing story, and I obviously will, I would like to know more about it. I'll do my own research just to be sure of what I want to comment on, because as it stands now, I don't know the facts of the matter. So it is a difficult one for me to comment on. But I came across the story earlier in the week, but I didn't pay any attention because I was busy with other things. But I will do my own research, and I will tell you my views,
Yep.
on it next time.
All right. Mr.
Um,
Elvis Nwachuku, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Evening.
Yeah,
Hi, Elvis.
hi, Wally. How are you?
Very good. In
So
terms of
what's
what is
trending for you?
yeah, okay, what is trending for me is around religious harmony, especially in southwest Nigeria, and more specifically in Yoruba land. Um, in recent months, there have been cases of people on social media, just trying to, in my opinion, just trying to cause unnecessary, disharmony among religious groups. And about just last week, there's a gentleman called Tani Olong. So he's known for talking about, he's an Isheshe practitioner, a core Yoruba traditional believer. And he has been using social media to respond to other, I mean, more specifically to, Muslims, clerics on social media talking about the two religions. This obviously is around the superiority of religion. And I think that reached, a crescendo last week when he was actually arrested and detained in Ilorin. Um, and since then, a lot of commentaries around that same topic. Allegedly, he was arrested for defamation, that he said some things about some leading Islamic scholars, and then they wanted to teach him a lesson, and he's reached a level where he was arrested last week. There are comments around the legality of, and otherwise of his arrest. I don't know the full details, but my appeal is just the need for people just to take it easy, and just to know that there's nothing. Um, there's a need for religious harmony in Nigeria, especially in southwestern part of Nigeria, where we all, grew up. Um, we grew up with Muslims, Christians, and everyone traditional believers. People are doing their own thing. And the last time I checked, I wrote a small piece on religious harmony just in May, in May this year, and I had to look at the followers of the five main religions in the world. I actually had to double check. And last time I checked in February, there are 2.4 billion people who are Christians in the world. There are 2 billion people who are Muslims in the world. There are 1.2 billion people who follow Hinduism in the world. There are 500 million people who are Buddhist. And there are 60 million people who are for the traditional Judaism religion. So that tells me something, that the God that created all of us, that we all believe that is one. In his wisdom, he created this diversity of people globally. In his wisdom, he created this diversity of religion. We all believe he's all powerful. If he really, in his wisdom, if he wants all of us to be Christian, he would have done that. But he chose to let us have 2.4 billion Christians, 2 billion Muslims, and 1.2 billion people who practice Hindu. So let's just be people. Let's just take a shield pill. Let people believe whatever they want to believe, and let's just try. You believe whatever you believe, and promote whatever you believe, and practice whatever you believe, without this unnecessary harmony, without this unnecessary disharmony, among our people. I just think we need to talk. I just need to put that on record, knowing that there are many, many core issues in Nigeria to be discussed
Exactly.
at the moment outside, arresting one time alone and taking him to police cells. I'll stop there.
All right. Welcome, Egmo.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Thank you for
I'm
joining
sorry.
us. So,
Yes.
yeah, we're at the point where we talk about what is trending. So, Wale just finished this. So, what's trending for you?
I like the sermon that I met. I like the sermon by Wale.
Pastor Wale.
Well, it's because he broke this thing down into those religions that I didn't add the word pastor. I probably could still have said the same thing being a believer in Hinduism. He would have said the same thing being a believer in Islam. He would have said the same thing as a Christian, and of course as a traditionalist. It's rather unfortunate that we expend energy on things we really shouldn't. Hence the issue of disharmony coming in. And I think a lot of appeal, and I think it maybe even enough appeal has been made to practitioners of the different believers of the different religions and all that. The funny thing is, none has traveled to heaven or hell and come back to give the actual report of things. None has proved that a particular religion is your certificate to heaven. It has not been proved. And why people will decide.
Are you there, Elvis?
Hello?
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
I think
Why people
Hello,
should,
yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yes. Why people should make themselves God's advocates is what puzzles me most times. But we can only hope that things will calm down and people will get busier with more fruitful things, frankly. I think Wale has said it all. Wale has said it all concerning that.
All right. Mr. Elvis Nwachukwu, what's trending for you?
I'll step away from what's happening in Nigeria. The international scene is agog with the news of the purported passing away of Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner Group. Boy, is scratching his head. So yeah, I think it was yesterday. We heard on the news he was flying into Russia alongside 9 other people, 3 of them being crew members. And mid-air, I could see a video of that jet actually coming down. Now it's been rumored that he was off. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, it's been
Is
rumored
Elvis,
that
is Elvis breaking up, or is it at my side?
Please,
maybe
It's
your
from your
side.
end. You can hear him.
Because the other two can hear me. Well,
Okay.
you can move from the 2G. We'll give you 2G. I bought is 1G. Move from your 2G to. Anyway, so there, rumors that he was on that aircraft. I think a similar story made the rounds. I'm not sure what I was in the 2000s. Sometimes in the past that he was. Am I alone now?
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that he had passed on, and then surprisingly, a few years later,
Resurfaced.
he was seen.
Oh, 2G. All right. Hopefully
Fired.
will join us soon. There's one
Don't can you hear?
story. Elvis, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So Joe Biden, President of the United States, asserts he's not sure.
Hello?
he hasn't got the facts of what really transpired. However, that nothing, of that nature will happen in Russia without Putin knowing about it. This incident is occurring 2 months after this same man tried to stage a coup to overthrow Putin. So fingers crossed. I'm sure we'll hear more in a few days to come. I also understand, I read somewhere he was actually heading into Russia to stage another coup because he's still not happy with what transpired or how things had gone down with the last coup. So, while everybody can hear me,
we can hear.
Yeah, that's what's trending for me. Yeah.
And there's one news that none of us talked about today that happened today. World news.
Donald Trump, is
Yes,
that the one?
yes,
Orange
yes,
man in the cage,
yes,
is there?
yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what is trending. One of those trending news that we forgot to mention.
Can you bring us up to speed with it, please?
Oh, Elvis, I'll get you to talk about that.
Yeah, so Donald Trump has been indicted alongside 18 other people in Georgia. So I don't have the full facts of the case, but something to do with their efforts to overrun the 2020 election results to stay in power. So they've actually brought up charges, and he'll be going to court soon against Trump. Yeah.
So he's been arrested.
He's been arrested. I think he's an associate. What's that lawyer's name? The popular one at the time. I can't remember his name.
Giuliani.
Yeah, correct. So they're all facing charges for their role in what transpired in 2020. Now, of course, Trump claims everything is politically motivated, and he thinks it's a witch hunt. But clearly,
That was his mugshot.
Yeah, his mugshot. Yeah. So yeah, that one is trending as well. I actually had it to to share with you guys, but on the viewers. But I thought,
well, two quick comments on both Wagner and Trump. Two quick comments. The Wagner case is obviously what Yoruba call Aje Kela no Kuloni. The witch cried yesterday, and the baby died today. There is obviously more to it. A lot more will still be revealed. The good thing about those societies out there is that secrets are not sacrosanct. Somebody is going to spill one day or the other. So we'll keep fingers crossed. As for Donald Trump, well, Donald Trump has never has never faulted any of his own personal actions. It has to be motivated. It has to be a political thing and all that. Well, let's get our popcorn and sit by the screen side. It's promised to be very, very interesting times ahead.
And the funny aspect of it is when somebody in the media said, "Is he not worried about war or something like that within America because of all this?" And the real politician would have tried to say something, and be tactical. And this guy being Donald just said what Donald would have said, which was to incite people, his followers, to take up arms and do whatever they have to do. So let's keep watching, and we the way it is, typical uh, rich white man. He's got it all. So let's just wait and see what's going to happen. So he's never been taken to task for anything in his life. So this is the first. So let's see what he's going to do to get out of this. So let's get into today's show, Mr. Wale Olaito. Let's get into it. I hope your 2G is sorted.
I don't know what's going on. I think there's a conspiracy between Egmont and Elvis. I strongly believe now that there's a conspiracy somewhere. Okay, let's return. Mute, please, Egmont.
You're muted. You're muted.
I said now it's 2.5. Let's go.
Yes, that's what I believe. There's a conspiracy between you and Elvis. We're going to talk about that after this program. There's a big conspiracy out there. So let's return to Nigeria. On the Nigeria we want today, we'll be discussing issues about governance and infrastructure development in Nigeria with the specific topic. FCT Minister issues 8-month ultimatum for completion of Abuja Light Rail as two-story building collapses in the capital. Upon his inauguration as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike drew the battle line between government and those distorting the master plan of Abuja. His first point of call 2 days after assumption of office was the multi-billion naira Abuja Light Rail Project, which is gradually rotting away as it was inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018. The project, which was first conceived in 1997 during the regime of the late General Sani Abacha, was awarded for construction for the first 2 phases, known as Lots 1 and 3, in May 2007. According to the design, the project, awarded at the cost of $824 million, with 60% to be funded with loans from the Exim Bank of China, covers a total distance of 290 kilometers to be developed in 6 phases. As a project designed to find concrete solution to transportation challenges in the FCT and its environs, the minister was not happy that only a section of the metro station is operational. During an inspection of the Abuja metro station in Ido and the airport stations on Wednesday, 23rd of August, Wike instructed the FCTA Permanent Secretary, Olushade Adeshola, to finalize payments to the Chinese company to complete rehabilitation of the rail within 8 months. So, how feasible is the 8-month ultimatum given by the minister to complete rehabilitation of the Abuja Light Rail Project? But before we go on, let's take a look at Minister Wike.
All those people who are distorting the master plan of Abuja, too bad, too bad. If you know you are built where you're not supposed to build, it will go down.
This is constructed with public funds, and therefore there's no need for any abandoned project. It's one of the projects we want to immediately complete and put into use. I've already directed the permanent secretary to make sure that the contractor is paid. We'll begin to see how in the next few months that we'll invite Mr. President to see that this place is commissioned for the public to use.
Yeah, that was new minister for FCT, Nyesom Wike, speaking there to newsmen in Abuja. So I'll go straight to the number one question, and I will start with with Mr. Yemi Shodimo. What is the hope of completing rehabilitation of the Abuja Light Rail as directed by the minister, considering the fact that 5 billion naira rehabilitation contract was awarded in August 2023 for 12 months? Mr. Shodimo. Are you there, Mr. Shodimo? On mute, please, Mr. Shodimo. Mr. Chodimo, can you hear me? Mr. Chodimo. Okay, Elvis, Mr. Nwachukwu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Wally.
Can you hear me, Mr. Nwachukwu? Yeah, can you?
I
don't know what's going on with.
I can hear you.
Yeah, can you answer that? Yeah, please answer that question. You want me to go over the question, please?
Yeah, but can you hear me?
Yeah, clearly.
All right, yeah, because I was disconnected when you asked the question. What was it, if you don't mind?
Okay, so everyone is on 1G tonight.
I think it's infectious, and it's all from you, Wally.
Yeah, yeah, look, I will go over the question again. What is the hope of completing rehabilitation of the Abuja Light Rail as directed by the minister, considering the fact that 5 billion naira rehabilitation contract was awarded in Abuja, in August 2023 for 12 months?
2023 for 12 months. Well, if there's anything I know of Minister Wike, I know in the area of project completion, that's something I know he's really good at. You know, during his time as governor of Rivers State, we're all witnesses to, you know, the number of projects Wike completed in Rivers State. In fact, that earned him the tag Mr. Project. There was hardly any month that passed by during the towards the end of his tenure that he wasn't, you know, inviting one eminent personality or the other to come commission one project or the other. So if we have to go on that basis, I would say with a man like him in that position, I would think, you know, if he has to bring that same attitude, you know, he had in River State to his current position, I'll say, you know, pretty much I'm confident, I'm comfortable that a man like Wike will deliver the goods. So, yeah, in my opinion, it's feasible, very possible. He's giving the directives. Of course, the funding has to be there. He's giving the directive to the permanent secretary to release the funds to the concession, the Chinese concession company who's undertaking this project, so they can kickstart it again. I wouldn't think a man like Mr. Wike will, you know, give that directive without actually ensuring that the funding is available. So in terms of whether, you know, this is feasible, yeah, I'll say with him there, I'm pretty positive something, you know, is going to happen in that space.
Thank you, Mr. Nwachukwu. Mr. Chodimo, do you share Mr. Nwachukwu's optimism? Do you think it's feasible?
I'm a little more cautious. I think I'm actually very extra cautious about that level of enthusiasm. The first thing that bothers me is, listen, and I'm speaking from a layman's point of view now. There is a contract for a project. The contract is from A to Z. You are doing a rail line or metro line that covers about 42 kilometers, 42 point something kilometers over space, Abuja. Now, out of about maybe, is it 10 or 12 stations and all that, only 1 or 2 or 3 are working. I'm bothered about the use of the word rehabilitation. 5 billion for rehabilitation. How do you rehabilitate what you have not completed as a project? I don't understand. And somebody needs to explain this to me. What is the purpose of rehabilitating a project that is ongoing? There's something wrong somewhere. Okay, fine. This is supposed to be for a period of 12 months. And here comes a new sheriff that says it must be completed in 8 months. What is the technical advice he got before reaching this conclusion? And we must also note one thing. The powers of a governor and that of a minister are different in terms of constitutionally recommended sphere of authority. I saw the pictures. He's surrounded by civil servants who have been there, who are part of this project from inception, and they are still there. Tell me, what were they doing during that lull period? What did they do? Some things are not in place here, and I am not optimistic about the 8-month deadline, except there are things we do not know. Because he had just said he's giving directive to a permanent secretary that money must be made available. So what has happened to this money over this period? What? So we really need, I'm cautious. I'm cautious. What obtained in Port Harcourt may not necessarily be the same situation scenario in Abuja. I want to see it completed. Listen, the metro line is not unique to Nigeria. The one in Addis Ababa was there in 1987. Ours came online in 1990 or 1991. And they've gone much farther than where we are. Algeria has. Something is not in place. Something is not connected. Seriously, something is not connected.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shodemo. It's such a very disturbing, and at the same time, I can say you're very passionate on this particular topic. Let's now talk about our culture, especially culture around, development of infrastructure and maintenance of infrastructure. I'll go to Mr. Onwashiku. What could have been the challenge that such a legacy project could be left rotting away? Like Mr. Shodemo just rightly said, that this is not this kind of project is not unique to us, and let's not even go to the Europe or America or whatever. He made the reference to Addis Ababa and in Ethiopia. So what is it about us that we struggle to manage existing infrastructure, or even try and develop new ones? Especially a project like this of this magnitude that is left rotting away until this new government, come on board and trying to revive the project. Mr. Washiku.
Well, this is not the first of its kind. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Since I was a young fellow, I've always heard about Ajakuta Steel Company. That one, I'm not sure whether it's complete today, but it's been going on for God knows how long. Now, I can identify 3 reasons why the status quo may be the case. Number 1 is the corruption that is inherent in Nigeria, with public officials only interested in what goes into their bank account and not actually doing the job or the job they have been employed to do. The second reason is still corruption. The third reason, Wale, is corruption. Nothing other than, corruption. Even where we manage to complete certain projects, also maintenance becomes an issue. I mean, I've seen instances where a businessman, for example, he has trucks that ply a particular road, and he thinks, oh, this road is, damaged to the extent that my trucks can pass safely. I can use my own personal funds to fix this roads, so we can have the roads in good condition and ferry our goods from one point to the other. I've seen instances where they make an attempt to fix it with their own personal money, and then someone from the local government, this happened in my area, comes out to say, no, you can't. It's our responsibility. You can't do it. If you're going to do it anyway, award the contract to us. Now the intention is they also want to steal that money. So people, my father, when he was alive, will say it's a white elephant project. You start it with no intention of actually completing that project. So it's an avenue for them to, to fleece the system, to continue to pauperize our people, to steal and enrich themselves and their families. So there's no other reason I can find here apart from the three I've given you already. That corruption. And I'll backtrack a bit. I know. Just give me 30 seconds to backtrack just a little bit. Now, I understand your sentiments, but how I judge a man is from his antecedents, regardless whether Wike was a governor and he called the shots. Let's not also forget that he's the federal minister. He's the number one citizen alongside the president in the federal capital territory, because we haven't got a governor in the federal capital territory. And based on his antecedents, Wike could have pocketed all that money when he was governor, but we saw empirically things that he had done when he was governor. I have no doubts that he's going to replicate the same with this project. And when you say, the word rehabilitate could be pure semantics for me, only because you can actually qualify it as, rehabilitation. If you concede to the fact that one of them is working, it means it had even taken off the ground. A good number of them are not working. It's been, it's been there. It's not been fully completed. So it may not also be completely incorrect to say rehabilitate it. One is working already. The others need to start working. Pure semantics, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Wale, sorry. There's a question for you.
I'm ready for Egbon's basketballs tonight. I came out from him today.
Egbon, there's a question for you that you'll be able to respond. I'll come back to you.
Wale,
Yeah.
still on that question that you asked Elvis. I totally agree with Elvis about corruption. But the other point that I would like to emphasize is about our culture itself, which is about we are individualistic. When it comes to what is owned by the community, we don't care. We really don't care. It's just, and it's something that I see even here. It happened in Nigeria. Just imagine when somebody is having a party, the person will go out and do, it's like a carnival. But when it comes to the community coming together to put something together, you see that it's so hard for people to put them to, to agree to work together to make it happen. And it shows even in our infrastructures, in things that we're supposed to take pride in, we can't, because in the way we reason, we are more individualistic than community-based. That's something that I know is working against us really badly.
Thank you, Dr. Vicky. And, we can continue from that. I will also continue with this question to you, around, the government, the minister has given, 8 months ultimatum for this project to be completed. But considering all the funding issues we have in Nigeria, I think it's safe to say the government is broke, considering some of the issues and, in the country. So again, talking about how, the feasibility of this project, do we think the government really has the financial, capability to implement this project, considering everything happening in Nigeria, the subsidy issues, and a lot of issues? Do you think the government, that the critical funding needed for this project, is it really there? I know we are not Treasury, none of us is the Minister of Finance, but if you look at what has happened in recent years, do you foresee any issues around funding, for this project, and also the timeline attached to it?
I'll say.
Do I take it?
Oh,
that for me?
Please take it, Edmo.
Wale, for God's sake, Wike said the money is there. He has instructed the permanent secretary to make the money available to the contractor. So we are not debating whether the money is there now. I'll just quickly go back to Elvis. The issue of rehabilitation has nothing to do with Wike. The 5 billion contracts that was awarded for rehabilitation was before Wike. That was the point I was making. I didn't say Wike ordered for rehabilitation. It's not. But what I'm insisting that you do not use that word for an ongoing project. What are you rehabilitating when you have not completed? As for money being available,
that's arguable.
No. It's out there. It was said in the bit that we had now. 5 billion naira or whatever, or $5 billion or whatever was awarded in January or whatever month for 12 months. So where Wike found his own 8 weeks, I do not know. I don't know what technical advice was available to him, so I cannot really say. But I'm saying things are not adding up. Things are not adding up, and I'm not going to bother my head about the availability of money, because the minister has said the money is available.
And we shared, don't forget, the government shared the 5 billion to every state the other day, so the money will be there.
It will not be part of the real money, Elvis.
No, I'm
whatever
saying
money they shared.
If they could promise to distribute 5 billion to each state, I mean, that will be peanuts compared to what has been given out to the states, or what's been promised to be given out to the states.
So that's the more reason why the money should be available. And he said it, that the money was there.
Well,
he said the money was there.
If the money wasn't there, he wouldn't be giving that instruction. He won't give that instruction.
That's the point I'm making.
And I definitely get where both of you are coming from. But we live in a society that people say good morning, and sometimes you have to look at your clock just to be sure it is morning. So that's why we're putting this on record. We're putting this on record that the Honorable Minister said it. And some of us, that the Nigerian system has bastardized our psyche. We have reservations about many things they say, and just putting it on record that tomorrow there won't be any story that Naira has fallen down and the Forex is going up and then they don't have the money. So just put it on record. So I agree. The minister said the money is available. We can just logically concord that the money is there, but we live in a society that they say something today and they go back and do something quite the opposite.
Wale, I'm sorry. The problem I have here is that they never come back to say sorry when it is not done. They never think of saying sorry.
Because nobody ever asks them. Nobody ever asks them. You never take them back on it.
That is one. I am also sacrosanct. I'm a bit careful when people start playing to the gallery like this. Listen, there are multinationals here who embark on billion dollar projects, and they don't scream. They do it almost every time. They do these projects, they accomplish it, they get it running, and they don't make noise. They don't. You hardly hear them giving ultimatum, because there are contracts that has to be followed. The contract with CEC or whatever, the Chinese company, is written in black and white. So where is the fault? Who defaulted along the line? Who defaulted? We will never know.
Thank you, Mr.
I don't know if they'll come back and say sorry if it doesn't work. But I would want to see it work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will go to Dr. Vicky now. Dr. Vicky, she hasn't had much say on tonight's show, so I want to give a question back to her. And this has to do with the minister's approach. You know, Minister Wike is an action man. I really like him. He's because of his action and his mannerism. There's no dull moment, just around him. So there's something about his personality that make me laugh. So
you must like the movie. You must like the movies, Wale.
So there's a question now for Dr. Vicky. The minister has been talking tough about the desire to bring sanity to the Federal Capital Territory, and this has been eliciting reactions from Nigerians. In your own view, what's your view about his approach and the talking tough, and what is your take on it? I know you're also an iron lady that if you want to get things done, you want it done, and you won't take no for an answer. What is your view about Wike's approach?
With Nigerians, you've got to be able to talk tough and follow it with actions. And yes, Wike in the recent times had shown himself to be that kind of a person that walk the talk the walk. He's done it before, and I will want to believe that he will be able to do this. He will be able to follow through with action. I listened to Elvis before, and I remember Fashola. Fashola, we all know him when he was the governor of Lagos State, how he performed excellently well. And then he became minister. Is it minister for works?
Yeah, works and housing.
And his performance you cannot compare to when he was the governor. So I want to believe that Wike's case would not be like that of Fashola. That's my yes. He's always been an action man. Let's just pray that Nigeria won't happen to him.
Okay.
Did Fashola not also have power under his belt?
We can't compare. We can't compare.
Ben. They did not have the power under his belt.
Yeah, he was a very powerful minister. He had power, works and housing, all combined. For one man. I think, to be honest, I think I was just too much for one man.
Exactly right. So what about his performance?
Yeah.
Listen, anyway, that's a different topic altogether. But power, like when that adding power alone there for me was almost like you're setting him up to fail, because that one is a hydra-headed problem. I don't know when we're going to solve it. Anyway, let's soldier on, Wale.
Okay, and this for you, Elvis. a few days ago, Abuja witnessed a collapsed building in Garki. With this, we use a strong approach like Wike is, that Wike is exhibiting is what we actually need in Abuja right now. And that is similar across many Nigerian cities with collapsed, buildings. I would say 9 out of 10 of those buildings are because of, irregularities in construction and non-compliance with laws and rules. So do you think that with what has just happened in Abuja, with the building collapsing, that definitely that is a reinforcement for us to have a person, like Wike?
Well, there was one even last month in Lugbe. So it's becoming a reoccurring decimal in Nigeria. And look, I'll tell you a little story. There's the absence of systems that work back home. And that's why we will continue to witness this kind of situations as long as, we spoke about something similar to this with the topic the other day with the lift collapsing and that young doctor dying. No systems in place, nothing to check. Here in Australia, for example, if you're building a house, you sign up with a building contractor or a builder. That builder will also have a surveyor, like an inspector, under his payroll that goes to see every stage of that project to ensure that project is being built according to the Australian Building Code. Now, you as the owner of the project, like personally, I wouldn't just rely on the builder's surveyor to do his job, because the builder's surveyor can cut some corners, not as badly as it will be done in Nigeria, but you can also engage your own surveyor to keep checking, the building inspectors to keep checking every stage of that job. There will always be something to find. I was in Nigeria a couple of months ago. Incidentally, I've got a project going there. The architect of that project could not understand the reason why I would engage a structural engineer to come in and check every stage of that project. He was annoyed, Wale. That's the architect. He goes, "Okay, why are you wasting money?" And I'm like, "What is your job? You're the architect and the builder, right?" He goes, "Yes." "Are you a structural engineer? Do you know the structural computations that have gone into this job? Are you able to check it yourself?" He goes, "No." "Is it your money I'm paying?" He goes, "No." I said, "Don't worry about it. Just face your job. This is how we do it in Australia, and I'm bringing it back home here. I'm happy to pay this structural engineer to ensure you're doing this job according to what he has drawn." That's what we find, back home. Nobody cares about standards. Nobody cares about quality. Just put it up there, and what happens? The next day, the building comes crashing. So it's not so much about Wike talking tough. He needs to put systems in place. It's not so much about people having building approvals. People can have those approvals, get to sites, and not actually do what they have put up in the drawing and what they have submitted to the government to actually erect on the site. What is the government doing to check, to ensure that people are actually building according to the standards that they have submitted to them before that project was approved and before they started construction? So it's not so much about raving and ranting. There needs to be systems in place to ensure people are doing the right thing. People are building to the Nigerian code and using the right quality of materials and making sure those buildings are done to the right standards. That's my opinion.
Oh, thank you, Mr.
Permit me to just chip in something here. If you recollect a few of the things I said earlier, there are civil servants, let's call them that now, who have been entrenched in that system. These guys are so knowledgeable that they know what should be done. But a majority of them would rather not do what should be done for as long as they are personally enriched. And these are the same set of people under one minister. If they are making their money, right? If they are making their money, all will be well. All will be well in the sense that people can do whatever they like. In terms, I mean, just zeroing it to our issue of buildings and all that. But the moment that minister blocks their source, their channels of illegal acquisition of wealth, the next thing they are waiting for, and eagerly too, is the announcement that that minister has been moved to another ministry or probably sacked. That is the problem. So I agree with Eldis in terms of putting a system in place. But you put a system in place with which people? This same set of people, where a level 8 officer has about 6, 7, 8 buildings within that same Abuja.
Yeah, you make a good point. Wale, 30 seconds. Let me just chip in something here. A word of advice as well, if anybody is listening and they want to take it on. Egbon, you make a valid point. Yeah, so the people in the system will always corrupt the system. But if Minister Wike is serious with, his comments, this will be a good place to say, look, I'm putting you in charge. There should be consequences for any building that comes down. I know in Lagos State, the government will confiscate the land. It's never ever going to be your land again. They can add an additional layer. You in this ministry that's saddled with the responsibility of inspecting these projects. If any building ever goes down, you are responsible. There'll be consequences for you. It could be anything from jail time to fines or whatever. People will sit up. As long as there are no consequences, people are ready to take the risk. For all they care, anybody can die in that building. Like in this case, I learned about 3 people died, about 37 have been rescued. There's still maybe 2 or 3 in the rubbles they're trying to pull out. Put some tough conditions in place and have a punitive measure where if people default, there will be consequences and they will suffer it. We'll begin to sit up gradually.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Just very valid point there, by Mr. Washuku. Around the system, they need to have system in place, and the system and maintaining the integrity of the system. Buttressing that point, but in a different view, Mr. Shodimo spoke about the personnel. That you can put whatever system you like in place. You're still working with people. And the people, based on our culture of people just want to have money that probably they won't spend in their lifetime, and also want to take care of their kids, send their own kids to the best of schools, without considering the kids of the common people in that society, that as much as they have aspiration for their own kids to become
the consequences I'm talking about is not just for the expats. I'm saying include even the civil servants.
I got your point. Okay. I got your point. So in just trying to summarize, that point around the system, the personnel, Mr. Awashuku spoke about the need that human beings, we are human beings, but there must be deterrent factors in place. There must be consequences for their actions. And that could be something that will make people think that if you do this, you likely go to jail, highly likely go to jail and spend many, many years in jail. That could be, a deterrent factor for people to pause and think before they do what they have to do in terms of stealing of our commonwealth. Time is not our friend. I'll go to Dr. Vicky. Just quickly talk about, the master plan. Is in major cities in Nigeria, not only in Abuja, in terms of the distortions and illegal structures everywhere, street trading, land racketeering, and more. Who is to blame for this, Dr. Vicky?
Who is to blame? The government, of course. That's their job to monitor, to make sure, to follow up, to punish. But they're not doing anything. So no wonder, that's why you see more and more of this happening. And it will continue to happen until the government do their job. And that's where the system comes in. We need the system. We need to have the system in place. And within that system, anybody that works against it, this is what's going to happen. And then you follow up with it. You follow through. So
And
we
Dr. Vicky, they're also the government, the officials you talk about are also complicit in this matter. They are all part of it. They give the approval. In Festac, where I grew up, we had parks where we used to go play and everything. All of those parks have been sold. We had an underground sewage system. We had the electricity was passing under the ground. You know, they sold all the parks. Go to Festac today, it's become a slum. Wires are flying all over the place. Who sold the land? Federal Housing Authority. Who gave the approvals to build on sewage systems, on electricity, cables on the ground, that when they are faulty, you can't fix them. So they are actually complicit. They are selling the lands and also granting the approvals. They're all corrupt. They're all part of the system.
Absolutely, and it's a Nigerian factor. It's a Nigerian problem. That's why, as a nation, we need that reorientation. I think that's a major thing. People, as much as people are in one place, like what Egmont said, that okay, there's even a minister that comes around and wants to do the right thing. You have permanent secretaries, high-level people working in that same department that they know everything about that department. What do they want? They want him to be out of that department because is blocking their,
They're chopping.
Their bribes and everything. So at the end of the day, these people we're talking about, they are not from, they are not from the space. They are not extraterrestrial people from anywhere. They are Nigerians. So we need to actually look ourselves in the eyes as brothers and sisters and be honest with ourselves that there's so more that to a society than you having 10 buildings or whatever, sending your own kids to the best of schools in the society and creating a slum in that same country where kids of a common people, they can't even go to school. And you, in your hallucination, you think that is you can sustain that kind of system. You really believe that you can sustain that system, that you can drive your car and do your own things, and your kids will go to this best university and come around and live peacefully in that same society. Come on. People just need to just get, people, we're not against people making money or being wealthy, but don't corner what belongs to, millions of people all because of yourself. Looking at the time is fast spent. We're all very passionate. I'll go around just for 60 seconds before I hand over the baton to Dr. Vicky to close the show. If you have the opportunity of sitting with Mr. New Minister of the FCT, what would be your advice to the minister? What are other areas that you want him to focus on? 60 seconds, Mr. Nwachukwu.
I'll be saying to the minister, to be prepared to, talk the talk and walk the talk also. Not just spewing out all of these things. I know, he said a few things, that appear sensible to any discerning mind. But at the same time, and in some quarters as well, it appears some people have also stated Oga is going to use this as a way of witch hunting his political enemies. I hope that's not the intention. I've heard about lands will be revoked. Even here where we live, we have clauses in contracts where it says you need to develop the areas or your land within a year. Yet my neighbor here just developed his own. I've lived here for 5 years now, tracking. Nothing has happened to their land, and the developer has just given them that leeway to do it when they can. So I hope it's not a case of witch hunting. He should focus on what he's been employed to do and deliver the goods to Nigerians who are looking up to him.
Thank you, Mr. Nwachukwu. Mr. Shodimo, your 60 seconds with Honorable Minister.
Honestly, FCT, whatever is happening in FCT is not really different from any of the other states. And I honestly think they should evacuate all of us from this space and start issuing ID cards and visas for us to come back based on good character. That is
so where would they take you?
They take everybody out to the desert or somewhere. Everybody.
To Niger and then bring you back.
Everybody, just evacuate everybody from this space and then start issuing visas and ID cards for us to come back.
Okay.
Yeah, I keep asking the question. They are glad to buy it. I'm not sure we do. I'm not sure we do.
Thank you, Minister. Before I hand over to, I think, Dr. Vicky will ask for what did I think? I will tell the minister that, vision without implementation is nothing but pure hallucination. You've got a vision, implements the vision. Step on toes. I love your action man. I want to see you in action. Step on big toes in Abuja, but do the right thing for our people. That will be my direct talk to Honorable Mr. Nyesom Wike. Sorry. And over to you, Dr. Vicky, your time with the minister, and for you to close the show. And our producer, I'm sorry, we've gone over a bit time. We've had what's very important topic, and we've had some 1G and 2G issues again tonight. Dr. Vicky, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Wale Olaitan. I want to emphasize Wale Olaitan's point. Vision without implementation is pure hallucination. And that's what I will reiterate to our Honorable Minister Wike. Yes, somebody needs to start. We've had it too easy for too long, and that's why the whole place is decaying. Maybe with him starting with tough talk, and if he can follow up with action, maybe things will, and people can see that, there are changes happening. Maybe everybody can start sitting up. Let's just hope for the best. So it's been a great evening. Always good to have everybody on board. So thank you everybody for coming on tonight. And for our viewers, we thank you for joining us. We'll be back again next Friday, same time, same place. But till then, you all take care. God bless.
Good night.
The Nigeria we want. Where's the Nigeria? Of Africa. Nigeria we want. Where's the Nigeria? The Nigeria we want. With Vicky Omi Folaji. Yeah, me show the moon. Wale Olaitan. I've been saying what shuku. The Nigeria we want. Where's Nigeria? On Big Ocean. The Nigeria we want. Where's Nigeria?